Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is Brian Engelman, and you are checking out The Unhappy Hour. Perhaps you saw Eric Metcalf, Browns legend, say those exact words the other day. We had an event with the Browns backers of Southern California prior to the Los Angeles Chargers game and got to meet Eric Metcalf. And by the way, if you're a fan that is kind of questioning and almost forgetting why you're a sports fan in the first place, go on YouTube and look up Eric Metcalf highlights. Holy crap. That guy was incredible. So it was an honor meeting him the other day, and my dad just met Bernie Kosar today signing his new book. So welcome back to The Unhappy Hour. It's a fun place, and we are here today to talk about the Cavs, the Indians, the Browns, the Buckeyes, the Blue Jackets. In general, that's the stuff that we mainly want to focus on our Facebook group. So if you're not yet a member, it's a private group. It's got, 1,500 people in there. It's amazing. It's funny. It's timely. It's great conversation. Go on Facebook and do a search for The Unhappy Hour Sports Show group. It's called a support group. Find it, click it, ask for the invite, and then as long as you answer the questions correctly, that you're either an Indians, Cavs, Browns, or Buckeye fan, we're going to let you in the group. So join it. It's an amazing place to be with us in between our shows. Today, I want to break it up into three different segments. We're going to talk specifically with Zak Baris, former scout, lifelong Cleveland sports fan. He's been on our show for pretty much since we started our show. Zak's been a part of it.
We've been breaking news since the start on this show.
Since the start of the show? Okay, hold on. Well, give me that in 1 second, but we're going to focus.
2011.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you there?
2011.
Yep. 2011, I believe one of my first shows was again discussing the Mo Williams trade for what eventually the pick turned into Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie Irving,
yeah.
Yeah. So
imagine he could have gotten out. He would have been in Clipperland, not Lakerland, but he would have been out in Los Angeles.
Oh, I'm sure Adam Silver would have found a way to deny the Lakers that. They would have messed it up just like the Chris Paul trade. But, yeah, we're going to talk about the Cavs and the Buckeyes and the Browns today. We'll split it up into three different segments. So right now, I think what we'll do is let's split it up, and we're going to talk about the Ohio State Buckeyes. It's big news over the weekend. It's a lot to digest. Very disappointing for Buckeye fans. My take on it is this. The Buckeyes played the number 2 team in the nation with Penn State and beat them. We played Wisconsin when they were undefeated for the Big Ten championship and beat them. We played Oklahoma and lost to them. They're the number 2 team in the country. And basically, you're looking at the Big Ten with 3 teams in the top 10, but the one that emerged victorious out of that mess can't even represent the conference in the championship, and I think it's
Brian,
wrong. What do you think?
As much as I love Ohio State, and, you'd be outraged if Ohio State would have had Bama's schedule and Bama had a 31-point loss to Ole Miss. You'd be furious. That's the thing. It was not. Here's the thing. If it was a close loss, it's a different story. They got romped on the road, and you cannot tell me that team. Here's the thing. I love the Buckeyes. I want to see them do well. But, and the thing is, they should have beaten Wisconsin by 40. They are so limited with J.T. Barrett at quarterback. Can't get the ball downfield. Wisconsin scored 18 points off of turnovers in that game. It should have been never as close as it was. And Ohio State had they curb stomped Wisconsin like they should have, because they were that much better, they would be in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
I truly believe if Dwayne Haskins was the quarterback for that football game, he's got a much better arm than Barrett. Ohio State would have crushed Wisconsin. It would have been very reminiscent of 3 years ago when Cardale Jones lit it up that night.
59-0.
Yeah. I don't know if it would have been 59-0, but it could have been 35-7 or 42-7 or 42-0. And that was Ohio State needed a statement game like that, and they didn't do it. Right. They won. They beat an undefeated team, the number 4 team in the country. But look, we all know Wisconsin is not the 4th best team in the country. They were undefeated on a cakewalk schedule. We all know that Bama, if they played Wisconsin, would probably beat them by 3 touchdowns at least.
Well, maybe, yeah, possibly, probably.
Am I upset that Ohio State's not playing Clemson on New Year's Day? Yes. However, Clemson would crush Ohio State. I hate to say it, but with Barrett at quarterback, he is so limited. And you watched it last year on a very talented football team. He could not get the ball downfield, and Ohio State lost 31-0 for a reason. Barrett has seen no progression since his freshman year. He's been the same quarterback, and I honestly believe he's regressed. I think his best year was his sophomore year when he was battling it out with Cardale Jones. And then finally at the end of the year, after the loss, they really took it upon themselves, and they beat Notre Dame pretty easily. They beat Michigan, 42-13. That was when Ohio State was at its best. That's when Barrett was at his best. Other than that, I find JT to be very, very limited, and it's that simple.
Yeah, look, that all might be true, and I'm not going to dispute what you're saying.
Could you imagine playing Oklahoma again? They'd crush us. Barrett couldn't get the ball downfield. We've already witnessed what would happen. He's so limited in his ability.
I don't know. I don't see it that way. I think we'd have a better shot at it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't think we could win. I don't think JT Barrett's good enough to win it all. Put him up against the likes of Baker Mayfield. They've already done it this year in Columbus. Oklahoma crushed Ohio State. Crushed them. This year, JT Barrett has taken a step back. He's not that good. It's that simple. Ever since the Oklahoma game last year, when has he really come on big time and had an amazing game? Other than the second half of the Penn State game, that's it.
Okay, well that might be true, but let me ask the question, reframe it. What did Alabama prove to us this year? They lost their only relevant game. They proved less than the Buckeyes did. The Buckeyes proved that they're fragile, they're beatable, but they also proved that they can defeat 2 of the top 10 teams in the country.
Yeah, they did. However, looking at it, was Ohio State a top 4 team in the country with that 31-point loss to Iowa? The Oklahoma loss is basically irrelevant. They would have gotten in there. The Oklahoma loss was that 31-point loss to Iowa, who was unranked, looming over their heads. That was the issue. And do I necessarily agree? Here's the thing. I think the 4-team playoff is absolutely stupid. I think it should be 6 teams or 8. It should be 6 with the top 2 getting a bye. That's the most fair.
I kind of like something like that. I kind of like 8. If there's 5 major divisions, 5 major conferences.
Here's the thing. And then, but then all of a sudden you're pushing for 16. This gets the 5 major conference players in there with a wild card.
Or it could be 8, and the top 2 teams get a bye.
It could be 8 too, but at that point, where do you start cutting it off, though? Because there are teams that are going to want to go to 16, to 32, to 64.
Look,
you don't want to have a 3-loss national champion is the problem, and that's what the problem at the top 8 is. If you're getting the top 6, you're never getting a team with more than 2 losses, which I like the 6. I like the 60 because it would have landed Ohio State in there, and it would have gotten 1 wild card team, which would have either been probably Penn State or Auburn or USC. It probably would have landed USC in there.
And you know what? I think if you win the Pac-10, you deserve to be in there. And what I like about this method, Zach, is I like the fact that if you had, let's just say 6 teams. I'm also okay with 8 teams being in. I don't see much of a difference between them. You give a bye, you don't, I don't care. The point is, there's a mathematical component in that equation. So kind of like how the BCS used to look at computer rankings and strength of schedule, there was a computer formula. There was a mathematical algorithm that determined the top teams in the country. And what I'm saying is, if there are 5 major conferences in college football, the mathematical formula is do enough to win your conference. That's just math. You have an East and a West,
but
and
here's
legends
the thing,
and leaders in the
here's
Big
the thing,
Ten.
Pac-12 North, Pac-12 South. Hypothetically, let's say it's a 4-loss team like Arizona, who has a cakewalk schedule, wins the Pac-12 South, and somehow they wind up winning the Pac-12. Do they deserve to be in the top 4 team in the country with a chance to compete after being an 8-14 with an easy out-of-conference schedule? Absolutely not. It shouldn't necessarily. I agree that 1 team should be taken per conference if it's there. But again, a 3 or 4-loss team should not be able. The number 4. Let's just say the Pac-12 or the Big 12. Their best team was the number 15 team in the country. They should not have a chance to play for the playoffs. That would drive me nuts.
I don't know that it would bother me that much because it's just mathematics. There's nothing that the eye test gives a damn about. You either
the goal
win
about
it
the top
or you don't.
4, though, is to get the 4 best teams in the country playing for the national title. And you know what? Ohio State shot themselves in the foot 2 years ago with that loss to Michigan State because who are they going to put in there? An undefeated Michigan State team or an undefeated Iowa team? One of those 2 was going because, and there was no chance. Although, was Ohio State probably the best team in the country at that point in the season? Yes, but it didn't even matter because there was the Big Ten championship. It was 2 undefeated teams. And a team that was, undefeated. So they had to take them. Even though it would have Ohio State if they would have played Michigan State in the Big Ten championship, or if they would have played Iowa, would they have crushed both of those teams? Yes. And that's why it was so unfortunate, because Ohio State would have easily won their second national title in a row that year. Easily. It's frustrating, but Ohio State had 2 losses, and they had one horrendous loss. And don't forget, they got crushed by Oklahoma at home.
Yeah, they did. It definitely happened.
They did. Alabama's loss, I'm not sitting here defending Alabama, but I'm saying Bama's loss, when you're trying to justify it, Bama's loss was on the road to an Auburn team, that wound up, you watch the rematch against Georgia, you realize how hard it was to play in Auburn, when Georgia went and beat Auburn so badly in a neutral site, in a neutral game. That was at the point. That's what I'm getting at. You saw how much tougher it was. I think that just proved the point. Had Alabama won, and they would have won the conference, would have changed everything. Ohio State would have slid right in there.
Well, look, that's my point. I'll wrap it up on the 6 or 8 teams. If there's an occasional occurrence where a lesser team finds a way to mathematically win their conference, fine. That would allow 1 or even 3 wildcard teams to jump ahead and jump into the conference as well. There would be a little bit of an eye test, but mostly mathematics. I understand that the Buckeyes can't complain too much. If you lose twice, you don't have too much room to complain. That's always been the case. It used to be, if you don't go undefeated and end up as one of the 2 top teams in the country, 1 loss disqualifies you from contention. I know, where do you draw the line? I get that it's a little convoluted. There's pros and cons to both sides, but I'm really in favor of something where maybe the conference champs get in, and then you have 1 or 3 wildcard teams. We'll see what happens, but hey, I like the Troll Tide hashtag that's coming through. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe they're going to get stomped out there, and it'll
just
be
bring a giant
desserts.
sign to the game that said Roy Moore. Roy Moore's a Bama fan.
Oh, there you go. That blends both of my favorite worlds together: politics and sports. All right. Maybe we'll even take a knee for it.
Brian, I saw the best truck today. So I was heading out to the east side for an appointment today, and moving on to the NFL, I see a truck that says NFL National Felons League. And then it said, let me see what else the picture said. It was pretty funny. It's on my Snapchat. I put it on my story on my Snapchat. It also was, it was National Felons League, and then it was F, then, the hashtag symbol, percentage sign at the NFL. So F the NFL. And I put on my thing, I said, Trump loyalist or just an angry Browns fan?
It's so hard to tell anymore because there's so much overlap from so many people in our group in the Unhappy Hour. It's so funny. You don't know what they're actually frustrated by. Hey, but before we get to the Browns, though, press pause on that for 1 second, because I did just kind of want to touch on what's going to be a weird matchup for the Buckeyes before we make the transition here. USC versus the Buckeyes. It's a very unconventional former Rose Bowl matchup. Called something different, but they're teaming up. What do you expect in that bowl game? What do you think we're going to see?
This is where you fully expect, and this is why I'm going to say it was why it involves the Browns. You're going to see Sam Darnold going against arguably one of the top 3 secondaries in the country, maybe the best secondary in the country. Against Denzel Ward, you're going to get to see Sam Darnold, try to do his magic against them and see how well he performs. It's going to be very interesting. I think Ohio State's the better football team overall. I don't see I don't see Ohio State having a problem moving the football on USC. And I think Ohio State's defense can stop them. I think Ohio State will probably win that game by about 2 touchdowns.
All right, I'd be okay with that. And then, of course, like you said, Sam Darnold playing. That's going to be a very important game for the Cleveland Browns to take a look. Is Sam Darnold officially out? He's definitely coming back for another college season?
There's no guarantee on anything right now. He hasn't said anything.
Okay, so there was just a bunch of speculation. Because I heard that story, if the Browns had the first pick, he's going to stay in.
You know what? Knowing the Browns, they'll trade the pick. They trade it every year, so who knows?
I know. It's some point, though, I feel like you got to bottom out, and it feels like this is the time.